Hello, I'm Gordon Lang, editor of CameraLabs.com. In this video I'd like to give you a preview of the new Nikon D7100 DSLR, and here it is right in front of me on the table right here. Now it's very important to note that this video is a preview, it is not a full review. Nikon literally announced this product to the press about 1 hour before I made this video, so I've only had a very short time to actually handle the camera and to talk to Nikon about what's new. Now Nikon is saying that this camera will be available towards the end of March 2013, so if you're watching this video after that date, please head on over to CameraLabs.com where hopefully you'll find an in-depth full review of it. But right now, over the next few minutes, I just want to give you a flavour of what's new about this camera and where it fits in the range. Now, numerically you'd think it would replace the D7000. It doesn't. The D7000 actually remains in the Nikon lineup. This camera slots between the D7000 and the D600. So is it a semi-pro DX model? Well, Nikon is saying they're aiming it at the enthusiast market. This does not mean that this is the fabled D400. This is not a semi-pro DSLR. It's very much in the same vein as the D7000 before it, which kind of implies to me that maybe Nikon have given up with the idea of a semi-professional DX body. They're really saying that if you want that real step up in quality and features, you'll need to really go for full frame. So what's new compared to the D7000? Well, Nikon are making a lot of noise about this camera being smaller and lighter, and certainly it does feel pretty compact and light in your hands, surprisingly light in fact. But the build quality is very, very good. The grip has been improved, the mode dial now has a different texture on it, and you'll notice there's also a new lock button here. But what's really different about this camera is the actual build quality and weatherproofing. Now, like the D7000 before it, it has a magnesium alloy plate at the top and at the rear. But what's different between this and its predecessor is that this camera is now weather sealed, and Nikon are saying that it's sealed to the same extent as the D800. So this is a camera that should survive in some light showers and will also repel some dust, which is great news for people who want a tougher camera environmentally. There's still a microphone input and new stereo microphones on the top, but unfortunately there is still no built-in Wi-Fi or GPS. If you want those, you'll need to add them as accessories. This is a bit of a shame, at least I think it's a bit of a shame. I would like to see this level of camera with built-in Wi-Fi and GPS, but obviously Nikon doesn't think it's appropriate for this market. You can, of course, however, add them if that's what you like. And it still has, thankfully, the twin SD memory card slots on the side, and there is support for UHS SD cards. Now inside the camera is a 24.1 megapixel DX format sensor. So that's roughly the same resolution as the D5200. But the really important difference here is that this camera's sensor does not have a low pass filter. Now you may recall the D800, the high-end model, came in two versions, the D800, which did have a low pass filter, and the D800E, which did not. Now the idea of a low pass filter is it actually slightly blurs the image before the sensor records it, and that's to avoid the effect of moire. That's where you see shimmering colour and lines on fine textures like textiles and maybe brickwork or roofing, that sort of thing. But as resolution and pixel density gets higher and higher, moire becomes less of an issue. So you've got to ask yourself, why am I actually deliberately blurring the image? So what Nikon have done with the D800E and now with the D7100 is remove that filter altogether, and that does give you sharper results than an equivalent 24 megapixel model. And if you do see moire, it's something you can reduce in software afterwards. This works with the same software tools that are in Capture NX that worked with the D800E. Also new to this model is a 1.3 times crop mode, which extends the reach of your telephoto lenses. Now, you might think, hang on a minute, this is already a crop camera. It's got a 1.5 times crop because it's DX format, with another 1.3 times crop on it if you want. And this takes it up to, we calculated an equivalent of 1.95 times, so let's say roughly 2 times crop, with a reduced resolution of 15.4 megapixels. So wait a minute, roughly 16 megapixels, roughly 2 times crop, that sounds like micro four thirds to me, and that's what this would give you. So it effectively gives you, reduces the field of view by 2 times, so that 300 millimeters suddenly acts like a 600 millimeter. Also, the 51-point AF system is spread out right to the edges of that 1.3 crop, so that could be really good if you're shooting sports or wildlife. you also see an increase in continuous shooting rate. This camera shoots at 6 frames per second in its full frame, if you like, in the 1.5 times crop. Switch it to the 1.3 times crop and you can boost it to 7 frames per second. Now, the D7000's continuous shooting was fast, still 6 frames per second, but where it disappointed was in the buffer depth. I measured about 15 to 20 fine JPEGs before that buffer filled. Now, Nikon is saying that this will shoot for 33 fine JPEGs. This is a pre-production model, so we can't actually test it, although this is what it sounds like. I'll let go before we can actually do the official test. 33 fine JPEGs, 100 normal JPEGs, or 7 RAW files. Switch out to the crop mode, the speed increases to 7 frames per second, and the buffer to 73 fine JPEGs, or 12 RAW files. Turning to the back, the viewfinder remains 100% coverage, but there's a new 3.2-inch screen with 1,229,000 dots on it. Now that's actually still VGA resolution, but with an additional white pixel for each color array. So you get kind of more vibrant images on it. Although interestingly, it's still 4x3 in shape, so you still get the shooting information at the bottom, unlike Canon that has a 3x2 shaped screen and superimposed shooting information. You'll note the screen does not flip out. If you want that, you'll need to go to products like the D7200. I mentioned earlier that it's got a 51-point AF system, that's with 15 cross-type sensors, and it works down to f8, which is nice if you're using teleconverters. It'll shoot 1080p video at 24, 25 or 30p for up to a second shy of half an hour, or it'll shoot in 1080i at 50i or 60i in the crop mode, and again there is an external microphone input but no headphone jack on this model. Now, interestingly, Nikon has launched this product with a really cool looking radio wireless remote control called the WR1. This operates at 2.4 gigahertz with a 120 meter or almost 400 foot range. And this lets you change things like the shutter speed, the aperture, the ISO. Really nice looking accessory, although not the cheapest accessory at about 650 Great British pounds. Speaking of which, there is also a battery grip available for this camera that's also weather sealed, available for £279. The camera body itself will come in at about £1,099 or at £1,299 with the 18 to 105mm VR kit lens. If you want US and Euro pricing, I will have that on my preview at cameralabs.com. So that's all I can tell you at the moment. It's a pre-production model. I've only been holding it for about 1 hour, but I hope that this video has got across the essentials. Now, as I find out more about it, I'll update my more detailed preview at cameralabs.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a direct link to it right below the video window. So, late March, if you're after a high-end DX format body, the Nikon D7100 could be for you.